Hi, just a very quick brewing video. If you want to see a full review of the AEROPRESS system, have a check on my channel and you'll find it there. Absolutely love the system. Now with this there comes one of two ways of brewing it. There's the one that they recommend, the traditional version we'll call it, and then there's the inverted version which I'll cover in another very brief video. But for the purposes of today's video, we're going to do it the traditional way. We'll put this to one side. Okay, so on the traditional brew technique, the idea is that it's brewed sort of in situ, as you see here. So the system comes apart like this. You're going to put your filter in the bottom there. Now, whilst I don't think the instructions really refer to the idea of giving the filter a little wash through, it is worth doing so. Lots of other people have commented on it all through the coffee videos. Any system with a paper filter, it does impart a small flavour, so give it a rinse through and save yourself that sort of I don't know, I wouldn't say unpleasantness, but you know, let's get rid of that flavour. So we'll give this a little rinse. By rinsing it, it also helps it stay in place, so it's not going to float up once it comes into contact with water. So stuck in place like that. Particularly helpful if you're going to use the inverted method, but I'll show you that in a minute, or in another video rather. So that's stuck on there. That's going to go back into your AEROPRESS. It's actually pinched between the cap and the body anyhow, but just wetting it does help. So that goes in there. Now you're going to put your coffee grounds in. They recommend 1 scoop, which is about probably 12-15 grams of coffee, depending what time of day it is. I might sort of go 1.5 or 2. That's your personal preference. That just goes straight in the top. You can use this a little bit to help you get your coffee grounds in, but personally I find it a little bit superfluous, and that doesn't follow me to work where I use the system. So let's get the coffee in. Got some freshly ground coffee. We'll do 1 scoop. In it goes. Give it a little shake to make sure it's level. Now, in the instructions it tells you then to fill up to level 2, and if you want a longer cup of coffee, you're going to approach it like you would a sort of Americano and top it up with hot water. What I prefer to do is to fill it higher up, let it brew a little bit longer, brings through a little bit more bitterness if you do it that way, but that's not a problem for me. And you know, personal taste, try it out, and then you get a stronger cup of coffee by my reckoning. So let's put in the water. Now what you see here is one of the reasons why I prefer the inverted method, because whether you like it or not, the coffee is starting to go through the filter. Give it a little stir. And then after a period, you just squeeze it through. As I say, it's always frustrated me that the coffee starts to go through the filter of its own accord rather than when I choose to do so, and that's really why I strongly prefer the inverted method. As I say, check out the video on that. Nothing wrong with this method, makes a perfectly nice cup of coffee. Just pushing it through. You can be a bit more rigorous on the push than this. Occasionally you might find a squirt comes out the side, but if you've got a wide mouth coffee mug where the whole cap fits in, you don't have that problem. Okay, so you've got your coffee in there. You can top that up to taste. You can add your milk, you can add your sugar, whatever you fancy. But there you have a freshly brewed cup of coffee without too much fuss at all. In terms of clean-up, all you've got in here is a fairly dry puck of coffee, which you then can pop into your bin or your compost. Okay, well, that's about it. So very quick, very tasty, and very easy to make coffee. Thank you very much. Bye bye.